Research is the most important step in writing a blog post, in my opinion. It should really take you the longest amount of time, honestly. And even if you have personal experience with something, you're not going to know everything. None of us are experts on absolutely every detail of everything and need no other help to write it. So yes, long term, you'll do less of this, especially the more you know your niche, but there's still specifics that you're not gonna know off the top of your head the exact centimeters of the crate should be for dog travel. I don't know, my dog has Crocs, so the exact ergonomic benefits of blah, I don't know. There's stuff I don't know. I've used the product, but I don't necessarily know every single detail about it. I don't know all the vet recommendations for these versus various other boots. I don't know statistics for dogs on hot pavement off the top of my head. So there are things you're gonna have to check. And so I don't want you to think that I'm saying write on things you don't know. I 100% am an advocate for write what you know, write what you've experienced, but you're not going to know every single thing. We're not we're not some sort of android. We need to actually double check information, even just knowing the specific opening times of a restaurant. That's all research. So research is really important to me, and I want to show you how I can speed up some of it with AI. Now, you still should do more research. Always do research, and don't be afraid if it takes a while. One of the first reasons I got into AI, beyond the fact that I was working 4 jobs and needed a bit of help speeding things up, is because I needed to speed things up so I could spend the amount of time I needed to spend on research. It's such an important thing. So we're going to use 2 tools today to do this. We're going to use the Bing AI, and then we are also going to use ChatGPT. Now, as y'all know, ChatGPT cannot access the internet in real time to get up-to-date information the same way. So that's where we're going to rely on the Bing AI. However, ChatGPT can be super useful to us because with certain plugins, I'm using the WebPilot plugin right now because the link reader one is no longer available to me, and it breaks my heart every single time. If it's available to you, use that one, it's better, but they seem to have gotten rid of it or something. I don't know. So use this turned on, and then it's going to allow you to check certain web pages or read files, which is going to help you do better research. It's just going to make your life a bit easier. So let's walk through how I use both of these. We're going to start with ChatGPT, since the name of this course is the ChatGPT blogging blueprint, but then we'll go over to the Bing AI afterwards. So I will also say there are other plugins that you can use to read PDFs in a different way. So Chat with PDF is probably the most popular one that I have tried myself a while ago, but I don't tend to use PDFs. We are going to check a PDF, so I guess it is a good idea for us to have an option. So let's just install one that I'm going to be able to just upload the file for, though. That way we can do this quickly. So when I come to ChatGPT, it's not going to be able to search the web immediately for stuff. It can help me do some basic research, what year was Canada founded? I don't know. We didn't learn that in history class. Or maybe we did, and I don't know, I used to write novels back then, so I didn't pay attention. So here we go. Now I know the year Canada was founded. Would I double check that? Yes. However, this is ChatGPT is trained on a large percentage of the internet up to 2021. So it has a pretty good knowledge base. So for something like this that is a concrete fact from so long ago, I'm pretty certain it knows what it's doing. That being said, if it felt completely incorrect, I would adjust it. I did go to the 150th birthday party for Canada, so just working backwards with math, this year makes sense. Now, if I wanted to do more research, I'm not necessarily going to just keep asking it questions. If I asked, who is the current mayor of Toronto, I don't believe it'll know unless I have WebPilot engaged. You can see here it's going using WebPilot to try and learn this. So this does enable it to know more of the internet. Is it the most perfect thing in the world? No, it still definitely glitches, but it's a lot better. So you can see Olivia Chow took office on July 12th, 2023. It's currently August 18th. So like this is just a month ago, and it's getting that accurate information. That's why I really recommend, if you want to do research with ChatGPT, have GPT-4. 3.5 cannot run plugins, so it can't do this with you. And what I do is I turn this on even before I start writing, if I'm going to write inside of ChatGPT, just in case I need its help fact checking things. It can just help me like in the moment get that extra bit of information I might not know. So this is true. Olivia Chow is our new mayor of Toronto. I say our, I don't live there anymore, but I was born there. So it still feels like that's my home, I guess. Another use case here is I could Google, so here I've Googled PDFs. I actually need to get a web page though first. So let's just Google dog, flying with dog WestJet. Why can't I type today? I think I get like performance anxiety typing in front of y'all. So here I just want to get the web page, and I'm going to copy the URL, and I'm going to say, read this web page, please, and summarize the important details I need to know. And so WebPilot is going to be able to do this. If you just ask ChatGPT-4 without any of these, like there are other plugins as well, WebPilot is the one I've found does best. If you ask it to do this without that enabled, it's not going to be able to read it. It's going to say, oh, I'm like a language model, I don't know how to do that. You have to enable the plugin. And so here you can see it's giving me more information, like the fact that you have to call by phone to do this, or that there's a kennel fee. It gives you even the size of the kennel. So then if I need to follow up on this, I'm like, great, okay, this gives me some information. Maybe I want to know more about the kennel size or sizes. Maybe there's extra information I'd like to know. You can just have a conversation with ChatGPT because now it knows everything on that web page. So at this point, I could say, let's try and find something. The problem is I do know most of this because I've traveled with my dog, not with WestJet. They were problematic. Okay, so can you tell me more about the kennel size restrictions? Or you could say, does it mention snub-nosed dogs? Does it, actually that's a good question. Does it mention flying with snub-nosed dogs like pugs? But here you can see it gives me even more information about the kennel, like what isn't allowed to happen. Who would put their poor dog in a duffel bag for a full plane ride? That would just suck. I mean, there's no ventilation in there. There's a reason those things reek after you go to the gym. So now that I've asked this, you can see again, like every time it runs WebPilot, it's like looking for more information that it didn't already check for before. So here we go. I don't know why it talks about, I guess because they sometimes like put snub-nosed and like pit bulls into the same area. I wouldn't necessarily say snub-nosed dogs are aggressive, but yeah, it says respiratory issues during travel, more susceptible to heat. So it doesn't explicitly mention, but many other airlines have problems with it, so probably not a good idea. So there you go. You got the information there. So this is how you can use ChatGPT to do research. It's also a really good way that you can get it to read complex documents that you just can't understand yourself. Like, I am not a vet, so I don't know all of like the scientific stuff around dogs and Latin names and body structure. I just don't know all those technical things. So I could find a research paper by a vet online, maybe talking about flying with a snub-nosed dog if I want to learn more about like why the respiratory issues have more problems up high, or why they are more susceptible to heat and stress, and then feed that into ChatGPT. So give it a link to where that paper is hosted, and then be able to have a conversation with ChatGPT, kind of like you're talking to the person who wrote the paper. So this was first introduced to me by Dr. Marie Haynes, who was doing it for some sort of like very technical article. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, I wish I'd had that during like my medieval lit degree or during any of like the weird other classes I took when I didn't know what my degree should be that were often like science-y. And I could have been like, hey, what is this research paper actually saying? Does this talk about this thing that I might need for my paper? And if so, then I could go in and actually read it to be like, okay, is this, like, now that I know this is relevant to me, I'm not wasting time reading every book in the library trying to figure out if any of them mention, I don't know, wells in Chaucer's works. Like, we did some weird stuff. I did a lot on like talking birds and medieval dream poetry. Yeah, the epitome of a useless degree. So another way you can use this is to use PDFs. So I searched for file type PDF on Google to bring up PDF documents related to, and I just did flying with dogs. You could do anything you want. Just that way we had something kind of related to my knowledge so I could double check some of the information. But you can see we've got a lot of different pieces of information here. So we even have like the US Border Protection Government option for this, which is really interesting. So this is giving me like, first of all, it's long, but it's also going to give me a lot of information that's going to be very detailed. Do I want to skim all of this to figure out what I need? Not really. I would much rather be able to have ChatGPT synthesize it for me, or even tell me if it covers the topic I need so I can go in and read it. So I will say I am not perfect at making this work. And this isn't a plugin that I am always familiar with. So let's see if I put this in right. I might need to feed it. There we go. Please provide direct link to the PDF. Okay, well, I need to figure out how to do that. I'm gonna pause and I'll be right back. I always do this. Okay, I figured it out. For anyone who, like me, who always does, like, and I do this every single freaking time. To be fair, I don't read PDFs that often, but it's this button here, and you get the link there. I always try to copy this one, or I copy it from Google, and then it gets mad at me. But anyway, you just feed it that link, and then you can see it works. So here we get this synthesized information. So if I specifically want to know what vaccinations does my dog need, to travel to the US from Canada. Does it mention this? Oh, I need to stop generating first. There we go. So I'll take a break and I'll come back in an hour and we'll finish this. Okay, so we've hit our cap. Sometimes this happens, so here you go. Now you can see what happens when you hit the cap. But basically, you would just have a conversation with it, as you can see. As I did before, it's exactly the same thing. You would say, does it mention this? Does it talk about this? What does it say about this? And you can then have a conversation to understand it more in plain English as well, for things that are more detailed or more, like more clinical even for certain things. So that's how I use ChatGPT for research. Now, to use Bing AI is pretty similar. My main use case for it is to tell it to check certain websites though. So unlike ChatGPT, where I'm going to go out and find the website and find every instance of it, I can just ask like Bing to find any mention of something. So what breeds of dogs are not allowed to fly on planes? And so when you come to Bing search, you just hit chat, and then I always select more precise because I'm looking for it to give me factual information. I don't need it to write a blog post for me, which is the more creative side of it. I don't need it to, rewrite the data as much. I don't care about that. What I want it to do is actually give me the facts and tell me where it found that information. So if I hit like the little arrowy thing, it's going to search. It does take a moment. I will say it's a bit slow, but that's because it is sourcing information in real time. And it then gives you the sources for all of the information, which I really appreciate. So here I'm able to get like kind of a summary, and then it gives me a couple more specific pieces of information. And I get everything hyperlinked with where it came from, so I can double check all of this information. I can go read more about it. And now I have specific sources that I may not have found just by Googling this. Yes, oftentimes they are pretty similar or they are the same sources, but let's say article number 10 talked about like the fee that it costs. Well, if the first 9 didn't, and maybe I was like short on time, maybe I don't read number 10. I would have missed this information. And then you can see it even gives you some more questions you can ask, or you can just ask whatever you want. If you select new topic, it'll open a new window for you. And it does save the recent activity on the side, so you can go back and read it if you want. If you want to delete it, I don't know, maybe you search something weird, you can delete it there, just so you guys know. So what I like to do as well is I will say, find on reddit.com any mention of flying with a pug. And then you'll see it does searching cite reddit.com. So it's going to specifically search on a forum for me, which can be really helpful to find personal information, to find like user experiences talking about like when they actually flew with this dog. And the thing is, sometimes like these things, the forums aren't always going to rank for keywords that we search generally. So this is a really great way to find some that you might have missed otherwise. And I really like getting to read user experience for this stuff. And usually I'll have to search Reddit myself to find all this information. And if you've done that, you know it's not the best user experience to find the specific details you necessarily want. So this can be a really good summary to help get you going. Or even if you're thinking about like, what are some questions people have around my topic, here is a way to find them on Reddit. I find this super helpful. I've been doing it for a bit and I think it's really, really useful. It does work for other sites as well. So yeah, if there's maybe, I don't know, maybe WebMD, you want to do some weird searches on there, it'll search it for you. So it'll give you as much information as it can. It summarizes it. And then again, it'll hyperlink wherever it found the information. So you can go in and read the source material. You can even ask it to give you a few more if you want to, and it will keep giving you more information. So this is a great way to be able to get more text and more help. It is technically capable of like reading a post and then giving you information about it. I don't find it quite as helpful or as user-friendly as ChatGPT for that. So if I'm gonna like be analyzing a link or summarizing a post to figure out if it's worth reading, I do all of that in ChatGPT. Is it unhelpful to have Microsoft Edge and ChatGPT in Chrome open at the same time? Kinda, yeah, but I don't know. This is how I do it now. I like it. I just keep doing it. So I don't find any major issues doing it this way. I don't find that, see, that's what I don't like, is I always accidentally scroll down and then it moves me to search. Yeah, gripes aside, it works really well for this, and ChatGPT works well for what it works well for. Now, another thing you can do with ChatGPT is install different Chrome extensions. So if you were to search Chrome extensions ChatGPT, you will find so many. There's just 1,000,001 of them. I guess I just picked one this time. But if you go to general extensions and search ChatGPT, you'll find all sorts of things here. Now, I cannot guarantee how good all of them are, but I will tell you one that I've been using. If I can find it, there we go. So I use ChatGPT for YouTube, and what that does is if I go to a YouTube video, just pick a random one, and so here you can see ChatGPT will summarize it for me if I want it to. So I can ask it to summarize, and it's going to tell me what the point of the video is and some highlights. Now, I use this because I do have ADD, and I don't know if I want to watch, I mean, this video isn't long, it's like, 2 minutes and 33 seconds? Even so, I can barely get through a 1-minute TikTok video and focus on it. So for me, knowing if it's going to have the information I need to actually benefit me is super helpful. And this is where I'll come to read the summary of it to see, okay, does it actually talk about something helpful to me? And for longer form videos, anything like 10, 20 minutes, you're saving so much time not having to watch it. Same with the highlights. I really like that it does this is kind of a newer update to it, to be honest. When I first downloaded it, it just gave me 2 sentences of not the most helpful stuff, but it's gotten way better. And so it actually gives me more details now so that I can get a summary, first of all, if that's all I want. And sometimes that is what I want to know, if it's going to be the exact same as the other 20 videos I've watched on the thing I'm currently like hyperfixating on, or researching, usually hyperfixating to be fair. So gives me some extra information. Or you can just show transcript and then copy the transcript into ChatGPT and have it like explain based on the transcript for you. For really long really long videos, you're going to have to do this in stages. So that's why I find like the summary is a really great way to figure out if it's actually useful to you. It will also do like a transcript over here. It's not massively different other than the fact that it has less time codes. So you could copy this too. Very much up to you. This is a free Chrome extension. You don't need to have GPT-4 for it. I've been using it since before I had GPT-4. And you can even like copy the text that it has up here if you want. I find it very good. Now, if you think it did a shit job, you can also rerun it and see if it does a better job. But this is just a good extension for checking YouTube videos of personal accounts of using the thing or going to the place or whatever. I do think YouTube is an underrated place to get extra kind of information, and clearly the person has the thing or has done the thing if they're in a YouTube video at the place or holding the thing. So that can be really beneficial. And then honestly, this one I first installed just because like I was hyper fixating on setting up car camping, which I haven't done. Just a weird 3-day binge. And so I kept watching them and so many just had the same thing. So this helped me not have to watch 1,000,001 things that were exactly the same. But you can see with like in the Chrome, like I guess library, web store, there's so many extensions you'll find that can do all sorts of stuff. So if there is something that you need some help with for your research, if you do need something that is going to double check things for you or summarize certain things, this is where you can find something that'll do that. A lot of them are fairly similar. So you don't need 1,000,001 of these. They will eventually start to slow down your Chrome. But if there's a certain use case you definitely need, like you do want it to be able to be on a sidebar for you, kind of like the Bing AI often is. If you want it to, like just summarize any web page, I guess, as well as any video, that's also doable. So you'll see that there's just so many options here for ones that might be helpful to you. I won't say that I've used all of them because I've definitely not, but there's plenty here that might be beneficial to you and to your research. Or it might even be a whole other section of research just to go through them all. So this has been researching with ChatGPT and kind of a bonus of Bing AI and some Chrome extensions. So I hope this really helps you create a better foundation for your articles. It is very important, I will say again, to have well-researched articles. Anyone can just read the first 10 results on Google and go from there, but that's not going to set you apart from competitors. That's not going to help your user the most, and that's not going to really provide beyond even personal experience, just like expertise. So I really recommend taking the time to do this research. And with AI, you can now do it so much faster and really be able to give the best information without it taking you 20 years of like wandering a library to try and find all of it. So I want you to pick a topic, do some research, and I will see you in the next video where we are going to actually outline your blog post.